What's up, guys? Welcome to the Granger Smith Podcast, episode 35. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. I am grateful for this platform. I'm grateful to be able to sit in here in my office at the Yee Farm, talk about my opinions, and I'm grateful that anyone actually likes to listen to it. This all started many episodes ago on my bus when we were on tour in the back of my bus, talking about where I came from, how I got to here, and it has turned into now a platform to be able to answer your questions, to be able to tell you what's going on with me and my family and the music or Yee apparel, and most importantly, and my favorite thing, to be able to sit down with some of my friends and talk about their life. Today's a good one. This guy is one of the most fascinating people that I've ever met, and he has a very unique perspective on life, and rightly so, because he is one of the most deadliest snipers in American military history. With that kind of title, being an Army Ranger and going through hell and back, essentially, with that there comes a certain amount. You either gain some knowledge and learn how to cope and learn how to see life through a different lens, or you don't make it out, and you're part of the devastating statistic of those men and women that actually take their own life. That is how serious war is, and that's how devastating it is to young men and women. Nick Irving is also a New York Times bestseller and an incredible storyteller, an incredible speaker, and I'm very excited to have him on this podcast, and I think you're going to like it. Y'all stay tuned.
Dead cans and diesel, mud tires and smoke. Long line of 4x4s bumping down an old back road. Ranger cold one's high, it's a redneck invasion. Yeah, you're rocking with that Yee Nation.
Everybody has a story. Everybody's got history. Everyone has a set of events in their life that come together to create who they are as a person. And there's been a few times in my life when I have forgotten that. I forget it all the time. Mm-hmm. But I met you in the Holler music video.
Yep.
And it was like, hey, you know Nick Irving? Yeah, man. Yeah, Ranger Sniper. Yeah, cool. You're a cool guy. We had fun that day.
Great fun.
Good party. And then I go read The Reaper. And I learn your history and your story.
Appreciate it.
And I remember I was on tour, and I was reading that, and I was like, oh my God, this is the guy. This is Nick. Like, this is his story, and it just reminds me that everyone's carrying around whatever it might be, and you have an incredible story. You've seen things that most people will never see. Thank God for
hopefully,
that.
yeah, definitely.
And it's an honor to have you on the podcast today.
I appreciate it, man. That was a deep intro. I appreciate it, man. I feel regular,
man. That's why you're such a cool guy, because you come off regular. That's how I hope people think of me
Dude,
I hope that someone could think that.
I honestly, when after that Holler video, and when it came out, well, one of my son loves it, and she was, talking. She's like, "That's the guy you're with. It's a real music video, and he does real music." And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "I thought he was a regular guy." It's like, "Me too," but yeah. It's. I think it just goes to show, like, you never let things get too much to your head.
Absolutely, that is such a key.
You have to. Yeah.
I kind of read The Reaper twice because after I read it, then my bus driver, Bull, who's an Army vet, I turned him onto it. So he started listening to the audiobook while we were driving. Yep. So in the mornings, I'd get up and the audiobook would be rolling.
Wow.
And then I would go sit up there with him during certain parts. And so you've written, 5 books?
5 now. Yep.
New York Times bestseller.
And working on, like, another autobiography, but not for myself. I'm working on 2 autobiographies, ghostwriting. I love telling other people's stories, man. And, like, the war part is cool, but I think the triumphs that people have to go over and the different, I'm writing one guy's autobiography, and he came from Mexico. He crossed the border illegally, joined the Army, suffered like 80% burns to his body on his first deployment, felt like killing himself multiple times, wounded, missing legs and stuff like that. But stories like that, man, that fight, the drive to continue is what inspires me. You know, I look at those guys and, I had my time of wanting to give up, man, more times than I can count, I'm not sure how it is for you for music, but, like, have you ever wanted to say, man, I can't anymore, If you ever felt like that, it's what makes people drive, man, it's the story I like to tell, or I even like to hear. You learn a lot from it.
There's a big difference between me and music business, and I've had that many times. I've thought, this is the end. This is the end of the road of music. I'm done.
Yep.
But it's different. your kind of story. Yeah. So that's actually happened to you on the day.
Yep.
The day for you. And a day you'll never forget.
Oh, yeah.
And that day, you talk about in the book, that you actually you came to a crossroads where there was actually a decision of, do I take my own life?
Yep.
Not necessarily, not in a selfish way at all, or not in a scared way, but more in a conserving the intelligence.
Yeah, this is all we have left, man. That was a scary day, and I found myself, I think about it every day, but it's like an unconscious effort to do it. It just kind of pops up out of nowhere, and I think about, that day. Me and my wife were having a conversation about it like a week ago, and like, I don't talk about the Army stuff anymore, which is like weird, but I think about it, dream about it, every once in a while, and it's just like that guy at that age, man. It's I'm not sure how I survived, or that mindset you have to be in. I don't know. It was a weird place to be, man, being overrun and surrounded, and we called in for air support. They were like, we're not dropping any air support, no reinforcements, and the last option was, take a grenade, pull the pin, and hug it. That was a day I'll never forget, but it's one of those days where I look back at that guy and I'm impressed by that guy. It's almost like it's a different person. It's such a different person that I admire that guy. But I don't know if it's older now or what it is, man. But like, that guy I wouldn't do it. I don't know if I would do it again. I'm smarter, and I know things hurt now. I'm scared to ride a bike because of the fear of, not a bike, but let's say a skateboard. I won't try that right now because my bones don't recover the way they used to if I fall,
Yeah.
But
it's probably the natural progression of getting older, and you're not as crazy as you were,
that was crazy.
But still, your story of crazy, your level of crazy is higher than anyone else. So, dude, you dream about it. What's that? What do you dream about?
It starts off as a normal dream. For example, I was in this one dream last night. Another one. I met Prince in one dream, and I don't even think about Prince,
Right.
But I went to sleep, and in this dream, I was in this, it must have been a small, dark club, and all the smoke-filled room and stuff like that. Very small, secluded club. And this guy walks in, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, it's somebody, and everyone's fighting to go see him. And I look, and it's Prince, but he's short like Prince is. But the closer I got to him, the taller he got. And he became like 8 feet tall. And I was like, well, I know this is a dream because Prince is not that tall. And then it turned into like being in combat again. Every dream is like that. 80% of my dreams, it starts off normal. And I wake up and I'm like, I tell Jess, I'm like, hey, I just killed like 40 people in this dream. And it started off this way. And I don't know why it comes out that way. In combat, I dreamed about high school and bullies and stuff like that when I was in combat. But when I got out of combat, I think I dreamt more about combat opposed to, the life that I'm living now. It's more about just weird things I think that I try to suppress for so long. It's finally getting a chance to rise itself in a way that, I think it's healthy. At this point in time, it doesn't bother me. I don't lose sleep or anything. It's comical at this point. I expect it, but it's a weird transition from, I guess, the different state of mindsets and, watching those old videos growing up from the guys in Vietnam. And dude, I used to question, like, why are these guys crying? They're 80 years old or 70 years old. And this happened back when they were in their 20s. And I fall back on that saying, like, beware what you wish for, Right. And I definitely, I see the connection that in my mind, I always see it as if it happened maybe 2 weeks ago. Everything that even that mission, it feels for me, when I think about it, I can see it, and it feels like it maybe 2-3 weeks ago. But I know it happened in 2009, but the time it just doesn't add up, and it still is fresh. I can still hear the bullet pops. I can still taste, the blood that was in the stream. I still taste all that and smell everything, the fear,
You guys gotta read The Reaper to kind of fill in the blanks. You've talked about it on many other media sources, and so we don't have to go back to that day. But you guys should read this book to fill in the blanks. So you're one of the deadliest snipers in American history, right? Mm-hmm. And the takeaway from that is how you're so cool and normal.
Normal, that's what it. Yeah.
Right, and maybe you hear me say that and you think you have no idea.
No, I honestly think, bro, to be honest, man, I was so scared of letting that part of me go. Right. I used to drink a lot, and I would call home, and dude, I went through this really, really depressed state. And depression runs in my family. Like my mom, she suffers really, really bad from it. And dude, I remember visiting, her in hospitals, from being just a really, really depressed state. And there was a few times that, we thought we were not going to have a mom, and it's a long lineage in my family. But I found that I was so scared of giving that guy away, the Reaper away, or losing an edge of something, I was so scared of it that I held on to it, and it became like unhealthy, and I became more depressed. I started getting depressed of losing that guy, becoming, in this really dark spot of, I don't want to lose this guy, and I had a hard time finding out who I used to be. Right. I look at the old pictures of me growing up, and I had this childhood dream of wanting to be a sniper, and I look at those old pictures, and it's just not the same. For a long time, I did not remember that guy. The smiles, my parents would tell me, I was this child and, happy stuff, but I don't know, I didn't want it, or I pushed it away for so long, and eventually it became unhealthy, and, it kind of, it just got way too unhealthy for me, man, and came to a crossroad. Is that why you hear vets that go and get motorcycles and yes, sir,
go crazy?
Dude, I had a Harley, and I was not a good person to look up to for bike riding at that time. I was doing a lot of dumb stuff, man. It was for the rush, Right. I didn't want to give that up.
That's what you hear.
Oh, yeah. And, finally getting reconnected back with that person, taking a long look in the mirror, I'd never done that, Dude, I don't know if this is going to sound weird, but have you ever looked in the mirror, like at yourself for a while and notice how uncomfortable it is over time? If anyone has, or if you should give it a shot,
I've done that.
Dedicate 10 minutes and stare at yourself in the mirror and find out how awkward it can be. And I wondered why.
Dude, I kind of wanted to get weird on this podcast, and you're already doing it for me.
I'm sorry,
because I
man.
know you can go there.
Oh yeah,
and that's what I eventually want to talk about with you. But okay, so you stared yourself in the mirror for 10 minutes. It's a new form of meditation.
It is. That's why I started meditating, and dude, I saw like all the no smiling. It made me feel different, like, wow, this is what people see, or this is what I think you're a projection of what's on the inside, so whatever is going on the inside, people see it. It shows itself in its expressions. You age and all these different things that are scientifically proven from being in a negative state, even frowning, the muscles that it takes to do that opposed to smiling. So I started to change that person by changing the image on the outside, even if it was forcing it. In the military, we had this thing called AM and FM, like you're a radio, you're a tuner. And AM is actual motivation. And sometimes, a lot of the times, we have to turn to the FM station, which is false motivation. So I would do that and fake this character. I had built this character to be in the army of the Reaper, and I wanted to build another character, which is a happier person. So I started to mold that person from the outside first, and then find out, why is that person the way it is by, meditating.
And did it work?
Yeah,
Does the
100%.
FM station work?
Heck yeah, man. You fool your mind. I think you fool your mind by forcing it to do something even when it doesn't want to. So even in a bad situation, you begin to force yourself to find the positive in everything, So it's that false motivation of building that synapses in your brain to always find something okay.
Yeah, man, that is wild. I would say the word, you have a gift. You wouldn't probably look at it as a gift, but taken back to that moment on the day when you thought, all right, I'm probably going to have to take my own life to save what's left of this mission. You've already lost buddies.
Oh yeah,
good men. You've seen everything go to hell.
Yeah,
that you hoped you would never see. You probably thought you might one day, but you hoped that you wouldn't.
100%.
So you reached this point where you're like, all right, I think I'm gonna have to taking my own life is probably a good option. So then, how long is that period between that thought and I think I'm gonna be all right?
Oh, when the mission was over, when I got back home. When I got home, well, I take that back. I went to after that mission, I debated on standing up at one point during the ambush and like get shot or wound myself to get home early or something. But after that mission is when I went to the back of where we lived at, and I grabbed a satellite phone that one of these FBI guys had, and I called my dad, and I just cried for like, a few minutes. I waited for an F-16 jet to rev up its afterburner to take off, and I used that as the mask to cry. I didn't want anybody to hear me, and I cried for a little while. And he didn't say anything. I guess he already knew that, obviously something wasn't right. But yeah, he just let me cry. And then I cried again when I got home. I told my wife I was going to the gas station, and I had these tinted windows on this Mercury Grand Marquis car, and sat in the parking lot of the apartment complex and cried for a while, like another 10, 15 minutes.
You talk about hiding it, but the reality is no one would blame you for crying.
Yeah. Dude, it was one of those things that was a sign of weakness for me. Like, I didn't want anyone to see me cry or show emotion. I think that was the hardest toll, or one of the biggest tolls that took it, played a big part of who I became after that, was holding a lot of stuff on the inside, and being scared to say what was going on and not being, not wanting to be seen. My childhood was not weird, but it was that very tough childhood, Anytime I ever got hurt, it was my dad would tell me, take the pain and throw it away. There was no crying, not allowed to get hurt. So I just grew up that being a man was, just never cry, never show emotion.
Yeah, I get that.
Oh, yeah.
So
there's a time and a place for it, though.
It went, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
So it went all the way to the end of the mission, from the thought of maybe I should take my own life to save what's left of this. That went all the way to the end of the mission.
Oh, yeah, hours later.
So the first time you actually slept in a safe bed.
That was it, yep.
So laying in that bed, was there any feeling of gratefulness, or was it all clouded by...
Cloudy, dude. I'm glad you brought that up. It was such a cloudy experience. Like, after getting back, it was quiet, I remember the first time I closed my eyes, we had some detainees, some prisoners, and a prisoner was sitting next to me, and I closed my eyes and I heard this loud crack go past my ear like a bullet. And I woke up and I looked around and no one flinched, no one moved, and that sound was inside my head. And I was just so used to hearing snap, snap. And when it was quiet time, it was just, I took a shower. I was forced to take a shower. I didn't know how bad I smelled after 5 days, and but forced to take a shower and lay down in bed, and it was just it was quiet, man. It was quiet. I think I watched Taken 2 after that. Or no, I watched Hancock.
Yeah,
with Will Smith. Yeah.
A little bit. It's like chicken noodle soup for the brain.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'll do that with The Office. If I'm going through a rough time, I'll watch The Office, and it's like, soul food for the brain.
After scary movies, man, you have to turn on all the lights after a scary movie. That's what I do, and watch like Home Alone or something.
Yeah.
Yep.
So now it's been 11 years, right? Something like that.
10 years now.
Is there now a feeling of, I'm glad I made it?
Oh, yeah.
You got a little boy out here. He's right out here in the lobby. Beautiful wife, beautiful little boy, 3 years old. Is there now a feeling of maybe there is a sliver of goodness that I was supposed to make it out of there?
Yeah, man. I think that was the big wake-up call. Like, not even creating life. Shout out to women, man. Yeah. That's crazy,
Yeah.
But I'm like, I think having a family and just, there is goodness, and you see it in every child, any baby, any kid, man, they're all perfect, Yeah. There's nothing wrong about them. And like, we were all that way at some point in time. It's just the things that happen in life make the world seem to be grim and dark, and people are, crazy at times, but and we all come from that same seed. And I think that getting a chance to experience that and see it with my own eyes and be a part of that creation of something that is pure, great goodness, it put a big twist on things, man. It took away the bad stuff that I saw and gave a little bit of a spark, like, that's all that matters now, is that thing, whatever it is, to keep it good. I want to keep it good, If he can be a good person throughout this whole duration or this journey of life, man, then, he'll be a blessing to somebody.
Yes.
And it's a good thing.
Yes.
I see it that way, man.
I've said on this podcast before that so much of life is suffering. Humans are here and we suffer. That's what we do best. The only way, you can't get rid of the suffering. There's nothing you could do. It's coming.
Yep.
But you could offset it with meaning.
There you go.
And that's exactly what you're doing. You're offsetting the suffering that you've had and that you will continue to have through meaning. And through meaning means responsibility. Your wife, your little boy, raising him up the best that you know how.
You have to. Oh, yeah.
And that offsets. It doesn't erase it. It doesn't erase the suffering, but it ameliorates it enough to tolerate it.
Yep.
That me and you haven't spoken in person. It's been 366 days. Did you know that?
No.
366 days. I know that because...
Wow, dude.
Because it was June 4th. We got together.
And there was a leap year this year.
Oh, I didn't account for that.
Yeah.
But we got together on a podcast with Dakota Meyer. And that was on June 4th. And it was here at the Yee Farm.
Yep.
And we talked about, ironically, in that podcast, is there a day in your life that defines you? And we kind of went around the circle, And then that night became mine.
Dude, I'm gonna, and you know what? Like, I don't cry a lot, But that day when I found out, dude, I did. And I texted you and stuff like that. It was hard to, I couldn't imagine. Yeah. Damn, dude.
It's really weird that's the last time we talked, and we talked about what day to find you. I didn't know that just a few hours I would be in my hell.
Yeah.
With losing my little boy, and who's now the same age as yours.
Oh yeah.
And I do believe that everything happens for a reason. As far as us being together that day, it was a special thing, and I respect you as a person, and I respect the way that you have offset your suffering through meaning, and that you could even sit here and be positive at all.
Oh yeah. Dude, you're the inspiration, man. Like,
no,
you know, yeah.
No.
I have a boy, you know, so it's yeah, dude, I couldn't, yeah.
Tell me, I know that you have some things that you do to clear your mind.
Yep.
You have to.
Oh yeah.
As the nation's deadliest sniper. You don't just live a normal life and go through a 9 to 5. Mm-hmm. You have to have a ritual component to your life where you go, man, I have to do this to recharge my brain.
Yeah. I do a lot of meditation, man. And that's one thing I picked up, I want to say 3 years ago, with the birth of my son. I picked up meditation and like I grew up wanting to know meditation. This guy named Michael White from middle school, when Dragon Ball Z was a thing, and chi energy and all these chakra stuff. So he introduced me to it. And as a kid, I've always wanted to learn how to meditate or how to meditate, and tried as a kid, and I didn't get the concept of it. I just thought you close your eyes and it was boring. So yeah, I got really serious about it 3 years ago, and like changed my life, man, big time. It's the only time I get a chance to be quiet and question myself, get a chance to see myself from not only the inside, but how other people view me or what other people see. What, you know, it's been a really good game changer, man. I've become, it's weird, but I've become like way more connected with like the earth, man. You know, way more connected with the earth and seeing like the beauty in a lot of things in nature and the similarities between nature and mankind. And even with this whole pandemic thing or whatever you want to call it, it's, dude, when everybody went inside, Mother Nature became happy. It got really happy. And it made me think that, you know, our time here is so short, and it's all going to end one day. And when it does, the earth and everything else is going to continue to move on just as happy. So it's like we're already on this short linear, scale of time. And to think that, you know, we're so important that our negativity could, you know, influence, or we want to perpetuate this negativity so much that it's going to have an impact on the earth, man, or on mankind. It's kind of not even just selfish. It's just a dumb move to think. It's just a dumb mentality to have.
It is selfish. Absolutely. I'm gonna take a quick break, and then I want to actually talk specific on how you meditate, because maybe someone's out there thinking, all right, well, how does this dude do it? Because I want to try it.
Yeah.
All right, we'll be right back. Taking a quick break. I hope you like the podcast. I hope you're enjoying Nick Irving telling his stories, his perspective on life. And I want to tell you guys while we break that this Friday, June the 12th, we are having Yee Apparel's big summer launch. We have all kinds of new apparel. It's going to happen at 10 a.m. and typically these have sold out pretty quick. So you're going to want to go to yee.com or yeeapparel.com and get there early, and make sure you set your alarms in your phone. Say Friday, hey Siri, Friday, remind me on Friday that it's the Yee Apparel summer launch, so that you can get it right in there at 10 a.m. and have access to the store and pick whatever you want, because it's tough to see people that are diehard Yee Nation, and they go in there and they find their favorite shirt and then they click large and it says sold out. I don't want that to happen to you. I am going to say right now on this podcast, this particular hat, this is the multi wildlife hat. We'll call it that. I don't know what they're calling it, but it's one of my favorite hats to wear, and I'm going to give this away on this podcast. Comment below Sniper, and I will sign it. Nick will sign it, and we will contact you. Pick a random winner and mail it out. Love you guys. More back. So do you meditate every day?
Every day.
Okay, every day.
Every day.
How long?
It fluctuates. The minimum 30 minutes. The longest I've done was 2 hours. And that was like on a bad day. Just not a bad day. It was just a lot of stuff going on, and I just wanted to take that time. But basically how I do it, it's finding a nice room that I'm comfortable in. And usually it's dark. For me, I like it dark.
What set me up? What's the room in your house that you do this? It's got to be
completely bare. And so I read a lot of like weird books. Weird books. Christian books, the Bible, to witchcraft and occultism. But not necessarily associate myself. I just like knowledge, and I like to understand maybe the spirit a little bit more in depth. But my room is completely bare, white walls, carpet.
So you have a room just for this in your house, all right?
Just for it. I don't think you need one. You could find a closet or even just a room you're comfortable in. For me, I sit down in Indian style and begin a breathing process. I don't close my eyes all the way. I kind of just look normal, and I breathe really deep, and I hold it, and I breathe out 3 seconds, 3 seconds. And I keep that pattern up, and from that, I start to realize how little we do breathe. How little we do breathe and the few deep breaths that we take in throughout the day. And oxygen supplies everything to the brain, all the blood to the brain. And you start to realize how better you feel just by breathing deeply and holding it. And I work different parts of my diaphragm to help me breathe. A lot of people breathe from their chest area, and change that and try to breathe from your lower diaphragm area. I repeat that process until I feel comfortable. I would say 10 minutes maybe. And that's when my eyes begin to close and I relax everything in my body. So I consciously make the decision to relax the very top part of my head, the very crown part, and I relax my forehead and take time relaxing each and individual group from the top of your head to your eyebrows to your neck, all the way down to your toes while breathing, and relaxing everyone consciously, every muscle group consciously, and then closing my eyes all the way. And that's when I focus on these small points in your body that are called, chakras. And there's 7 of them. So there's one at the very base of
chakras.
Mm-hmm. If anyone looks it up, it's very simple to understand. I think it's pretty, interesting to understand, like these energy sources throughout your body. I practice basically opening my chakras, and I practice another form of meditation where you rise the Kundalini energy. It's this serpent of energy that goes through your spinal cord all the way to the crown of your head, and all the way to, if you believe in your third eye and all this stuff. But yeah, I practice those methods. And your chakras, if you want to do the very simple version of that, is there's 7 different points in your body, and you focus on each point. And for me, I open each one. They look like flower petals. Imagine lotus flowers. Each one of them has their own specific color, and you open one up, and then you let this light, like the sun, you imagine all this in your head, and you open each one, focusing on each point inside your body until you get to the very top of it. And it works, man. It calms you down. And a lot of people, when I first started, you have a lot of thoughts that go in your head. Like, well, I can't concentrate on just one particular thing. Let those thoughts come into your head, acknowledge them, and then let them go. So if I think about, I can be meditating and go off into a thought of a 18-wheeler truck, and I'll watch it, and then I'll let it go. And I'm observant of every thought that goes into my head, just being observant. And meditation is all about observing, just observing everything, the thoughts in your head, the thoughts on the inside.
Including daydreams, right?
Everything.
You start daydreaming, You realize you're daydreaming, you realize that now it's gone.
Exactly. Think about, okay, well, that was it, and let it go. And that the stresses in your life, they'll pop up, and things you're mad at. I don't allow myself to get angry. I don't dwell on them. I just observe them and then move on to the exercise. But until the exercise is, eventually you'll get to the point to where you can do it all the way through. Yeah. Man,
you guys think, I think sometimes like a kicker in the NFL, and it's in the Super Bowl, and he's got to make this field goal. He's got to connect this kick through the uprights to win the game. And not only for his guys, I'm sure it's his teammates are number one, but for all the fans.
All the fans. I'm missing that one.
So, can you imagine? Not you, the people listening, that feeling times a million. Finger on the trigger.
Yeah.
You're right there. You're in battle. Mm-hmm. You got to make this shot or your buddy is going to die.
I'm scared all the time. There has never been a time where I've not been scared, nervous, or underestimated myself in combat.
So tell me that feeling, that level of anxiety doesn't throw you into searching for some kind of meaning and some kind of meditation in some way. I mean, I can't imagine, dude. It's because you didn't do that before the war.
No.
You're probably just a regular dude.
Regular guy, class clown, bad grades. Oh yeah.
Yes. Oh, God, man.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I think we all have weird gifts and talents, or even if you want to call them talents, you know. I think what you do is art. You know, I went to college when I was in middle school. I got selected to go to a college program or take a semester for art, and I'm big into art. I love painting and drawing and stuff like that. But I look at what you do. Your ear for music, your intellect within it. It's an art form and it's a gift. Not everybody has that, and to be able to when I think about music, I think about, let's say, your soul, right? That invisible thing that you can put on a stringed instrument or an instrument or your vocal tunes. I can't sing. I can strum around on a guitar, but I'm not able to project what I feel in emotion to a massive crowd. You know, that's like, I'm not trying to get too religious, but I'm saying it's like when Yeshua, Jesus, the great teacher, fed, thousands of people with very small things. It's the same. It's that concept.
That analogy does not work, bro.
Dude, I think it does, man.
Music.
It's not the same, but you affect people and you change lives. I think if you can do that, for me as a storyteller, right?
Yeah.
You can change people's lives by telling a story. But to play music, I look at it as if...
Which you do. You play guitar, by the way.
No.
You enjoy it.
I enjoy it, but I can't do what you do, where I can play, but it's not that emotion in it. I'm learning how to play. You know what I mean? You have a gift and a talent to play, and you feed people's souls with your gift. You change people's lives. You may take someone through a hard time. Dude, music for me growing up was, I could have a song that related to, when I felt that I was getting bullied in school. I can go back to that song. It changed my life, made me feel a little bit more powerful or whatnot. Even in combat, it has a spirit to it and it changes lives. We listen to death metal and all these, hardcore songs to get us ready to go into combat. So music in itself, I think, has a portion of something in it that feeds the soul. 100%. Has to. It's vibration.
That's unreal, man.
We're all made of vibrations.
So, let's take away the combat. Let's take away all your sniper kills, Ranger school. Let's take away all that. Now you're just a black man in America. Where are we at today?
Sad, man. I do. I think it's sad. I was talking to, 3 days ago, a writer, a book writer, older guy, and he grew up around the, segregation and racism back in America. And my parents did as well. My dad went to a fully segregated school and when it all happened, but he told me that it's worse now.
Is he still around?
Yeah, he is. And they both, came to that conclusion that it's worse now. And I think that it's because of maybe it was never fully demolished or out of certain parts of culture. And I can't blame anyone for that, or anyone can. I think that to think that everybody here on this planet, and there's a good and an evil, that everybody's going to choose good. Everybody can't choose good. If it were that way, then heaven on earth. But being that it's not at that point yet, there are going to be bad people with bad intentions and bad morals and bad ways of thinking. And I think that, you can't necessarily have everyone like you, but the common acceptance of the fact that maybe we're just a person may have a view of me, but you don't have to disrespect me because I am that person, or a color of a person that you may not like, but the respect of a human being, we can all at least agree to that. We're at least human being. Whatever you think about me, it is what it is, but it's just a weird place to be in, man. I think, having a family and having a kid, I'm lucky in the fact that he doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, having to explain to him though, I'm not even sure I can explain it now. You know, here to myself, I don't know what's going on. I'm not sure if it's something was swept under the rugs for so long that it, finally became a boulder and here it is, or we've been stressed out as a nation, as well. And a lot of people are just doing things that they may not necessarily believe. Some do, but I think a lot of people at this point have maybe chosen two sides. And I think that's how our country is split, regardless of how you look at it. It's not united. It never has been.
And your dad, what does he say to why does he think it's worse, I should say?
I honestly do think because it's on TV and it's being filmed more and everybody, has access to it. That's
because we've all seen those videos of the 60s, man.
And to me, that was worse, dude.
We've seen the fire hose videos in Mississippi or wherever, wherever that was. And and he said, and he was there, not there, but how does he?
He thinks that
social media?
I think it's social media and being able to see everyone's opinion of how they feel. Back then it was, 3 channels is what he said,
Right.
3 channels and that was it. And you saw what you saw on the news and, that was it. He went to a fully segregated school. So I think now just having access to social media and you get a chance to maybe see people's opinions or ways of thinking is what may make it appear to be bad. But I think maybe it's not bad or it just never went away, And if that be the case, I mean, do I think there needs to be change systematically? Yes, but not just in the favor of me because I am black. I think in the favor of everybody. My son's not black. He's mixed, and I think that these rules or whatever the good fight is for needs to apply to everyone. Everyone should at least feel safe or have the same advantages. And I always say, people ask, does that really happen? These advantages of being black and in this situation or not. And I would use the example of just me in movies and TV shows, right? And I've been denied 3 times for a show and talked to on set with the producer for a big major network to probably cut my hair because it would not look good to a certain demographic. And I called my wife immediately and I was like, this mother, just told me that. Yeah. And so it's a real thing. I've been discriminated against, my wife and me both have been discriminated against for being mixed and, called names. I've been called names and all of it. So it does exist, but I'm not sure there's nothing you really can do about that. You can't change someone's way of thinking,
I every morning at the gym work out with these guys. Both of them black guys. One of them is not racially sensitive at all. The other one very racially sensitive. So, and we're really close. So we get into occasionally these deep conversations. And I always, and kind of like I want to do with you right here, is I just want to kind of get out of the way because I'm not going to pretend like I can relate.
Yeah.
But I do tell him, and it's funny because I tell him this, and then I say, I'll never say this in public, and here I am on my own podcast. But it feels like to me that as time goes by long enough, it gets a little bit better. Maybe, and you are the only one that can answer that. But, and my point to him, to Larry, is I say, Larry, if you ask your great-great-granddad if you got it bad, don't you think he'd laugh at you and said, tell 100%. Me more about your problems?
100%.
And 100%. As your kid and Larry's kids and my kid, as every generation goes by, a little bit of it falls away. Or does it? I don't know.
I get where you're going, man. And that brings up a good point. So I would say, wow, that was pretty good. Yeah, I think you're right, man. I do think you're right. Over time, it has to work that way. It only has to. I think we may be looking at time and how fast change is supposed to be on a scale that is not naturally supposed to work that way. You know,
but you threw my theory out of the water at the very beginning when you said your dad said it's worse now.
But no, I think, and that's the only reason why I think that, though, is because of social media.
Yeah.
Having access, we have so much access to the world now.
Yeah.
Back then it was, we had access to one view, and that was whatever the TV told you, and you didn't have access to, I can talk to a person in the Congo. Well, I never have, but I'm pretty sure I could,
you
on
can.
the internet.
Yeah.
The Congo, right?
Yeah. When I hear people say, the country's more split now than it's ever been, I always think, have you read about the Civil War?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're 100% correct. Yep. Yeah. I don't think it's split. I think it's just having access. Everyone has access to seeing
You're exactly right.
forms of hate, and some people tend to gravitate towards the hateful side. You can pick and choose what you want to see, what you want to feed your soul. I do see division. I 100% see division.
We all do.
I think it's also because of the fact there is a lot of social media you can look into. Division's always going to be there. I'm a firm believer in that.
Yeah.
I think there's a way to cope with it. But now that you said over time, and you've made me think, like, when my grandparents were growing up, dude, I wouldn't last two minutes in their shoes.
Right.
So, and I look at it now, I think we evolve and we start to see what's wrong over time. We just naturally start to evolve. And we get better and we get better, and we say, that was pretty crazy. 50 years ago, we were drilling holes in people's heads saying it's going to cure a headache,
Right.
So you got a point there. Wow. Mind is blown a little bit there.
The
I like that one.
trajectory, at least, is going up. It might not be fast enough for most people.
I like that. You're right. It's the curve, bro. It's the curve.
And what I tell Larry is, more bluntly, is I just say, old people just got to die eventually.
Yeah. Yeah. Bro, you're 100%
and their
correct.
thoughts got to die with them.
Yep. Everybody's got 100 years, man, max. Mm-hmm. Or at least, unless you're lucky. I like that one. See, now I have to go meditate on that now. I am. That was a good one. Yeah.
Well, just the thought of that I get the privilege of being in a Nick Irving meditation session.
Right.
I think I'm going
to put the shrine of Granger Smith on the wall, man.
Dude, we can't go to another subject after that. I just want to say thank you for
no worries,
for taking your time. You are an American hero. You have many times over protected the right that has allowed me to have this podcast, to have the freedom of speech, to speak my mind on a platform that I choose at a time that I choose, and to live the American dream by going and choosing to play music to provide for my family. I believe that all that is provided and defended by guys like you.
Appreciate it.
And I can't thank you enough for what you've done, for your story, and for your friendship.
Awesome, man. I appreciate you, bro.
Appreciate it, dude.